Face to the screen again, fellow slaves. We're back. It's been a while. You're in blackout mode at this point. You got the blindfold on for maybe a reason you'll understand here in a moment. I want to say some stuff that might be controversial. It's just, this is all hypothetical, and I'm not endorsing or I'm not claiming or denying any of the stuff I'm saying. It's just kind of a train of consciousness I just had that I think might sound funny to some people. Some other people will be offended, and that's really up to them, man. I think some people are just looking to be offended. But anyway, if I was in a room with Donald Trump, I would probably tell him that one thing he hasn't done yet is acknowledge the Hitler stuff. The Hitler stuff. We all know that the other side can call him Hitler as much as they want, and he mentions the loyalty of Hitler's generals, even though I think Mr. President Trump should have clarified that he was talking simply about loyalty. Now, from his perspective, loyalty is a good thing. Of course, you need to have loyalty if you're a leader. What is a leader without loyalty? My Trump voice is really not very good right now. I'm amping it up a little bit too much. But again, I would go back to the thing. I'm not supposed to talk about Hitler. It's bad for President Trump to talk about Hitler. I don't agree with anything that Hitler said. Oh, now, I gotta mention, if I was Trump's advisor, I would be pitching it to him in an impersonation of his own voice, which right now I'm not rocking it very hard, but if I get dialed in sometimes I can actually pull it off. Or at least I think he would think it's funny. Listen, Mr. President, I have to use my impersonation of your voice to try to sound like you and come up with better thoughts, because you always have better thoughts. Like, flatter the guy, and then he would love it. He would probably he'd probably roll on the floor laughing. ROTFLOL or whatever. To get back on the message. Hitler was a bad guy. We can all agree. We see what happened. The history books all agree that Hitler really was more about control and authoritarianism than he was about individual rights of his people. He was different from me, because when I say America first, I'm at least thinking of all the Americans. We got to root for the home team. And my voice is really faltering now. But if we don't root for the home team, what do we have to root for? There's nothing. Whether you're black or white or whatever, Chinese, Mexican, Hispanic, Eastern European, even if you're from former Yugoslavia, you come to America before the end of the Cold War or shortly after, because things were hard for them. They come to America for a better chance. We bring them over, or not bring them over, but when they come over, we look at their papers and stuff, and they have to settle up with their own governments. Some men would have to go back to their home country and serve their compulsory military service, which I'm not too sure about that. I don't know. Should America have everybody go into the military? Or would that just be more expensive than it's worth? Look at it like this. We already have the most expensive, most beautiful military in the world. To spend enough money to send everybody through boot camp would bankrupt us. We're already in so much trouble after President Biden and Vice President Harris, nominee Harris, have done to this country. We are in such bad shape. How could we afford to actually put a uniform on everyone of military age for at least 1 year, 2 years, whatever they do in other countries like Israel? I love Israel. They're so beautiful. Everybody there serves, but they're a small country. They have to serve, or else nobody will. Here in America, we have more than enough volunteers, more than enough beautiful soldiers willing to put on the uniform and go out there and spread the message of democracy, beautiful democracy. I hope you guys know I didn't write a script and I'm just winging this. Sorry. But it's beautiful. America's got the most beautiful military, the best weapons, the most proven, tried, tested, successful. I don't want to have to use those things, and I don't think that it's really fair to make the taxpayers pay even more for the most expensive military in the entire world. By far, by far. I'm not against the men and women that serve in the military. I'm not even against the Pentagon. I think that they do a wonderful, remarkable job, but to increase the spending beyond what we have already incurred would be bad. It would be bad. Unnecessary. And the people that don't want to serve by making them do it are just going to be a liability. They're going to be a liability to the people that volunteer to go kick ass for their country. If you don't want to go, don't go. We don't want to send you. We got to make it work with what we have. And we got the best. We got the best. All right, I think I'm kind of rambling now. I'm going to stop this at about 6 minutes in. Or, I don't know, I'll pause it and think of something better. Okay. Back by popular demand, it's Hitler. We're going to talk a little bit more about Hitler. And the thing about it is that I don't want to take anything away from his military record, but we should note that some people that served with Mr. Hitler had been impressed with his service, but others thought he was a glory seeker, that he was trying to draw attention to himself by volunteering for these ridiculous missions, and he pulled him off. Maybe he was just the guy they needed, but he turned out to not be the guy they needed after all. Look at what he did to the country. After World War II, Germany was a shambles. It was a shambles. He didn't have the country's best interest at heart. At the end of the day, he rolled too many dice and expended too many of his own good people to try to fight an unwinnable war against the entire world. So Hitler is a bad guy. And I'm not just trying to see how many times I can say Hitler in a video and not have YouTube strike it. Now that I've mentioned that, they're certain to strike it. Hitler was bad. We all know Hitler was bad. But there was a few good years. The people really had spirit. It's more about the spirit of the people where they were rooting for the home team. Rooting for the home team is a good thing. Like I said, whether you're black, if you live in a black neighborhood, you should take pride in your neighborhood. Root for the home team. You should definitely not rob each other, which you don't. Black people don't just necessarily rob each other. But statistics do. Never mind. The problem is lack of employment. Or low pay. The thing is, there's plenty of employment out there, but the wages are just not high enough to really inspire someone to actually leave the house. In Florida, I love Florida. Many people choose to be homeless there because they can sleep outside year-round and not freeze to death. They won't even freeze to death. And they can just go fishing when they want food. Some of them love it. They choose it. And that breaks my heart. It breaks my heart. I believe that America should be better. If we put America first, nobody will want to be homeless. They'll go get a job. They'll be productive. They'll help other people. Other people will pay them for their help. And then they'll be able to afford a home of their own. Even if it's a small home. Real estate prices, God, I love real estate, but it's unaffordable for far too many hardworking Americans. The divorce rate is off the charts because young couples or couples that get together, they decide to move in with each other for financial reasons before they really know each other well enough to know if they want to be married. The divorce rate is actually higher For couples that move in together before they get married, the couples that stay together more often are the couples that did not live together before they were married. They jump into it after they've already gotten to know each other well enough in the first place. And they're also not sharing the financial burden the same way. If you move in with one another and say, hey, I got a great idea. We can save money. Let's live together. Let's save money. Everybody wants to save money. But if you do it with the wrong person and you make a vow to stay with them, there's going to be a higher divorce rate, people. There's going to be a higher divorce rate. And my Trump voice is really sucking. I'm sorry, guys. I got to stop. I'm going to stop. I'm still going to post this, though. So, whatever. Face of the screen.